battlefield was quiet now. Too quiet. Smoke rose from the broken ground like breath from a dying world. Pieces of armor, torn flags, and shattered weapons lay scattered everywhere. The wind carried the smell of fire, blood, and metal. The war between humans and the alien empire had ended here. Or maybe it had only paused. Among the ruins, one man still breathed. His name was Eli Ward, a soldier from Earth. He lay face down in the red mud, his uniform torn, his arm twisted, his chest bleeding from a plasma wound. The air was heavy, each breath a fight. His helmet was cracked, one lens shattered. He blinked slowly, watching sparks fall from a burning machine nearby. He tried to move. His hand slipped on the wet ground. The pain in his ribs was sharp, almost electric. He coughed and blood touched his lips. The sound of his heartbeat filled his ears. Slow, heavy, fading. Around him the night was lit by flashes from distant fires. His radio hissed, then died. There were no voices anymore, no backup, no hope. Eli closed his eyes for a moment. The silence pressed on his mind like a weight. The stars above him were too bright, too cold. He thought about his home, about the small blue sky of Earth, about his mother's garden, about laughter that didn't echo with fear. "Guess this is it," he whispered. His voice was barely a sound. Then something moved in the darkness. A soft light flickered between the ruins. At first Eli thought it was fire, but it was too smooth, too alive. It shimmered like liquid gold, bending through the smoke. Slowly it came closer. Eli blinked again. It wasn't fire. It was a tail. A glowing tail, long and beautiful, moving like a ribbon of light. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. She was not human. Her skin had a faint silver hue, her eyes deep and shining like stars reflected in water. Her hair floated gently as if carried by unseen wind. The glow from her tail surrounded her, wrapping the broken ground in warmth and strange calm. Eli tried to lift his weapon, but his arm refused to obey. The woman knelt beside him. Her voice was soft and melodic, words flowing like music. "Don't move," she said. "You're dying." He tried to speak, but only coughed. "Yeah, I noticed." Her glowing tail moved slowly, tracing the wound on his chest. The air trembled around them. "I can save you," she whispered. "But you won't be the same." Eli stared at her, confused. "What are you?" "I am Liara," she said. "A healer. One who should not be here." He wanted to ask more, but his vision blurred. The pain was fading, not because he was healing, but because his body was shutting down. The edges of the world grew dark. He heard his heartbeat slow again. Liara leaned closer. Her eyes glowed brighter, full of both sorrow and strength. "Your kind destroyed this place," she said softly. "But you saved one of my children before the blast. I owe you life." Eli could barely understand her words now. The only thing he could feel was her tail wrapping gently around his neck. It was warm, pulsing with light. A strange energy flowed through him, burning, freezing, twisting. His lungs filled with air that wasn't air. His heart stopped and started again, beating in a different rhythm. "Wait," he gasped. "What are you doing?" "Saving you," she whispered. "But listen, human. You will live, but you will not be human again." Her words echoed inside his fading mind. His body shook as light poured through his veins. His eyes glowed faintly gold. Every nerve screamed and then went silent. The last thing he saw was her face, calm, sad, and determined, as the world went white. Then there was silence again. But it wasn't the silence of death this time. It was the silence before something new begins. And deep in the ruins of that battlefield, under the light of two dying suns, the legend of the man who stopped being human was born. Darkness. That was all Eli could see at first. No pain, no breath, no sound, only darkness stretching forever. Yet somewhere deep inside that void, a faint rhythm began to echo. Thump, thump. It wasn't his heart. It was something new, something not entirely his own. He tried to move, but realized he no longer had a body, only a drifting sense of self. Around him floated sparks of light, memories flickering like broken film. His mother smiling on Earth, his squad laughing beside a fire, the smell of rain, the sound of home. Then nothing. Each memory faded like smoke, replaced by glowing symbols spinning in the air. "Eli Ward," a voice whispered through the darkness. It was soft, distant, almost like music. "Do not fight it. The change is already inside you." He wanted to answer, but words didn't exist here. He tried to shout, "Where am I? Who's there?" But only silence answered. The blackness rippled, and suddenly light burst through it like a sunrise. Eli gasped. Air rushed into his lungs, but it felt strange, cool and heavy like breathing water. He sat up sharply, coughing, his hands trembling. When he looked down, he froze. His skin shimmered faintly in the dim light. Lines of gold ran under his veins, glowing softly with each heartbeat. His reflection in a puddle beside him stared back with golden eyes that weren't fully human anymore. The alien woman, Lyra, stood nearby. Her glowing tail moved slowly, keeping the air warm. "You're awake," she said quietly. "You should not be alive." "But you are." Eli blinked, trying to speak. "What happened to me?" Lyra stepped closer. "I warned you," she said. "My power doesn't heal the way your kind understands. It changes, it fuses. My light entered your body to rebuild what was broken. You are alive, but not human anymore." He touched his chest. The wound was gone. Only a golden mark remained, shaped like her symbol. He felt both awe and fear. "You said I wouldn't be the same. But this isn't real." She shook her head slowly. "You stand between two worlds now. Your blood carries both life forces. The longer you live, the stronger the bond becomes. But if the elders find you—" Her voice trembled slightly. "They will kill us both," Eli frowned. "Why?" "You saved my life." In their eyes, she said, "I broke the sacred law. No alien must ever bind their light to a human. It is forbidden." He looked down again at his hands, at the strange glow pulsing beneath his skin. "Then why do it?" he asked quietly. Liara's eyes softened. "Because I saw something inside you," she whispered. "When you shielded my child during the attack, you bled for someone you did not know. I could not let that kind of heart die." Eli didn't know what to say. His throat tightened. The silence between them was heavy but gentle. Outside, the twin suns had set, leaving the sky painted in silver and violet. The wind carried whispers of ash and ghosts. Liara knelt beside him and handed him a piece of alien cloth. "Wrap yourself. You are still weak. The others may come searching tonight." "Others?" he asked. "The hunters," she said grimly. "They follow the light signature of my healing. They'll know I used forbidden power." Eli nodded slowly, gripping the cloth. "Then I guess we better move." Her eyes widened slightly. "You would come with me?" He gave a small, tired smile. "You saved me. The least I can do is walk beside you." For a moment she said nothing. Then her tail glowed brighter, curling around her like a shield. "You are strange, human," she said softly, half dying one moment and ready to fight the next. He chuckled weakly. "That's what we do best." As night deepened, they walked through the ruins together, one glowing faintly gold, the other silver. The stars above shimmered, watching in silence. Neither of them knew what waited ahead, but somewhere in the distance a faint hum filled the air, an alien signal tracking them through the dark. Liara glanced at him, worry in her eyes. "They are coming." Eli tightened his grip on a fallen weapon. His voice was steady now. "Then let them come." The silence of death had passed. Now began the silence of rebirth and danger. The cave was quiet, lit only by the pale blue glow of strange stones along the walls. Outside, thunder rolled through the alien skies, and the rain came down like shards of light. Eli sat near the entrance, staring at his hands as golden lines pulsed faintly under his skin. Every few seconds, his fingertips flickered with energy, alive but unfamiliar. Liara watched him from across the fire. She was silent, her silver eyes reflecting the flames. The air smelled of damp earth and something faintly sweet, the scent of her healing aura. She knew what she had done was forbidden, but she also knew she couldn't undo it. Eli broke the silence. "You're hiding something," he said softly. "Every time I ask about what's happening to me, you look away." Liara didn't answer at first. Her glowing tail moved slowly behind her, like it carried the weight of her guilt. Finally she said, "You deserve to know. My kind, we're called the Sarathi. We're healers of life and keepers of light, but we are never allowed to touch human souls." Eli frowned. "Why? What's so wrong about saving someone?" Her voice trembled. "Because your kind's essence burns differently. When I used my tail to save you, our energies mixed. The light inside me fused with your soul. That bond," she paused, struggling for words, "is permanent. It's sacred. It's forbidden." Eli looked down at his glowing veins. "So I'm your crime." Liara's gaze softened with sadness. "You are my miracle," she whispered. The fire crackled between them. Outside, lightning painted the cave walls with quick flashes of white. Eli took a deep breath, still feeling the strange pulse under his ribs. Not human, not machine. "And if they find out?" he asked. "They will come for us," she said. "The elders, the hunters, maybe even my own blood. They will destroy anything that carries forbidden light." Eli gave a bitter smile. "Guess I've always been good at being hunted." Liara tilted her head slightly, curious. "You don't fear them?" He looked out into the storm. "Fear doesn't help. I've been dying since the war started, just slower this time." She studied him for a long moment. There was something strange about him, this human who met death with quiet humor, who faced the unknown with calm defiance. His heart, though changed, still burned brighter than most. She reached out and touched his arm lightly. "There's still time to reverse it," she whispered. "If I remove my light from you, you'll die, but your soul will be free." Eli turned to her, eyes glowing softly in the dimness. "And if you don't?" "Then you will change," she said, slowly. "You will lose parts of what makes you human. Your pain, your limits, your memories. You'll become something new." Eli laughed quietly, shaking his head. "Sounds like a fair trade. I already lost everything else." Liara's hand dropped. "You don't understand. The transformation isn't kind. It burns. It takes and never gives back. When it's complete, you won't remember me. You'll be light but empty." He looked at her, his voice calm. "Then maybe it's better if I stay near you. At least until I forget who I was." Her eyes widened. "Why?" "Because you didn't let me die alone," he said simply. The word struck her harder than any weapon. For the first time, Liara's control cracked. Her tail dimmed and tears shimmered on her cheeks like drops of liquid silver. "You humans, you confuse me," she whispered. "You destroy so much yet love so deeply." Eli gave a weak smile. "We're complicated that way." Before she could respond, a sharp noise echoed from outside, a metallic screech followed by a low humming sound. Liara's face turned pale. "They found us," she said, standing quickly. Her tail flared with light. "The hunters are near." Eli grabbed a fallen plasma rifle from beside the fire. His hands glowed faintly against the weapon's metal. "Guess our talk's over," he said with a half-smile. Liara's eyes burned with fear and resolve. "Eli, if they catch us, they'll kill you first." He stepped forward, standing beside her. "Then they'll have to earn it." The storm outside roared louder. Shadows moved beyond the rocks and red eyes flickered in the darkness. Inside the cave, the forbidden healer and her half-human creation prepared to face a world that wanted them both erased. And as lightning struck the sky, Liara whispered under her breath, "Forgive me, elders, for loving what I was told to destroy." The storm had passed, but the air was still thick with tension. The cave was gone now, burned to ashes during the night attack. Eli and Liara had escaped through the forest, running beneath twisted trees that glowed faintly under the alien moon. The ground pulsed with faint energy, alive with whispers of strange creatures moving unseen. Eli's body felt heavier with every step, his vision sharpened beyond what his human eyes should see. He could count the droplets of mist on leaves, hear the heartbeat of distant animals. The golden marks on his arms pulsed brighter whenever he touched something alive. It scared him, but it also made him feel powerful. They stopped beside a fallen log. Liara's tail dimmed as she pressed her hand against her chest. "We can't keep running," she said softly. "The hunters will follow our energy trail." Eli leaned against the log, breathing hard. "Then we stop running." Liara looked up sharply. "You don't understand. They are not like your soldiers. They sense life. They tear through shadows." Eli smiled faintly. "Good, I've got something new for them to sense." She frowned, stepping closer. "What are you talking about?" He raised his hand. The air around his fingers shimmered. Energy, gold and alive, crackled around his skin. A small bolt of light jumped from his palm to a nearby rock, splitting it in half with a soft hiss. Liara froze. "No," she whispered. "You shouldn't be able to do that yet." Eli stared at his hand, surprised and frightened. "I didn't even try." "The fusion is accelerating," she said quickly, her tone full of fear. "You're becoming like me, faster than I imagined." Eli's chest glowed faintly beneath his torn armor. His voice was quiet, uncertain. "It doesn't feel wrong. That's how it begins," Liara said. "Power never feels wrong at first." The forest around them trembled with wind. Somewhere far off, a deep metallic growl echoed. Liara turned toward the sound, her tail brightening again. "The hunters," she whispered. "They're close." Eli clenched his fists. His veins pulsed with energy, like lightning waiting to break free. "Let them come." Liara stepped in front of him, eyes wide. "No, every time you use that light, it eats at your human side. You lose something of yourself. A memory, a feeling, a piece of your heart." He looked at her quietly. "Then I'll lose it protecting you." Before she could speak again, a shadow leapt from the trees. A hunter, tall, armored, with eyes like molten glass, landed before them. Its blade hummed with red energy cutting through the mist. Eli's instincts took over. He didn't think. His arm moved, golden fire bursting from his hand. The blast hit the hunter square in the chest, sending it crashing into the trees. The forest shook. The light from Eli's body grew brighter, alive with fury and power. When the smoke cleared, the creature was gone, disintegrated. But Eli didn't feel victory. He felt empty, cold. Something inside him had gone quiet. Liara rushed forward, grabbing his arm. "Eli, stop!" He turned toward her, his eyes glowing fully gold now. "I had to." Her expression was full of sorrow. "You lost something again, didn't you?" He blinked. "I don't know." His voice was distant. "What did I lose?" Tears welled in her eyes. "You can't even remember what you're missing anymore." Silence fell between them. The night creatures hid, afraid of the energy that still flickered around him. Eli knelt, pressing his hand into the soil. The ground lit up beneath his fingers, flowers blooming instantly where his hand touched. "I can make things live," he whispered. "And destroy them just as easily." Liara lowered her gaze. "That is what the elders fear most. Not your power, but the choices you'll make with it." Eli looked up at her, his voice steady. "Then they should be afraid." The wind rose again, carrying the scent of ozone and rain. In the distance, dozens of red lights appeared, more hunters. The forest trembled under their march. Liara took a deep breath. "You can't fight them all." Eli looked toward the glowing horizon, the golden light inside him pulsing stronger than ever. "Maybe not," he said. "But I can make them remember who they're hunting." As the first hunter leapt through the trees, Eli's light burst across the forest. Gold meeting red, storm meeting flame. The night sky itself seemed to split apart, and somewhere far beyond the stars the Sarathi elders looked down, and knew that the forbidden light they feared had awakened. The forest was silent again, but it was not peace. The silence was the kind that followed destruction. Trees stood blackened, their leaves burned to ash. The air smelled of ozone and death. Golden sparks drifted in the darkness, falling slowly like dying stars. Eli stood in the center of it all, chest heaving, eyes glowing like twin suns. The ground around him was scorched in a wide circle. Dozens of hunters lay scattered, some broken, some turned entirely to dust. His hand still pulsed faintly with energy, trembling as if unsure whether to heal or destroy again. Liara approached carefully. Her tail dimmed, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Eli," she whispered, "you need to stop." He turned toward her slowly, his expression blank. "They would have killed you." "I know," she said softly. "But at what cost?" He looked at his hands, confusion clouding his face. "I don't feel anything. Not anger. Not fear. Nothing." Liara reached out, touching his arm gently. "That is the cost," she said. "Every time you use that light to kill, it takes more from you. Your emotions, your memories, your soul fades piece by piece." Eli's gaze fell to the burned soil. "So this is what it means to stop being human." She nodded sadly. "Yes." He tried to remember something, his mother's face, the sound of rain back on Earth. But nothing came. Just an empty blur. "I can't even remember my name," he said quietly. "It's Eli Ward," Liara said, voice trembling. "You were a soldier. You fought for people who didn't even know your name. You saved a child that wasn't yours. You were brave." Her words hung in the air, soft and fragile. Eli looked at her, his golden eyes reflecting her silver glow. "Were," he repeated. "You said we're brave. Like that part of me is gone." Liara's lips trembled. I'm afraid it might be. The wind picked up again, carrying a faint echo of movement. Somewhere deeper in the woods, a hunter stirred. One that hadn't been destroyed. It limped through the shadows, its red eyes burning with hate. Liara saw it first. Behind you, she cried. Eli turned too late. The creature lunged, its blade slashing across his chest. He stumbled back, the wound glowing bright gold instead of bleeding red. Pain flickered across his face, then disappeared. His eyes turned brighter, his body trembling as the wound sealed itself instantly. Liara's voice broke. No. Don't let it take over again. But it was too late. The energy inside him surged like a storm unleashed. Eli's scream echoed through the forest as golden light exploded from his body, tearing through the last hunter. The creature vanished in a flash of pure energy. When the light faded, Eli fell to his knees. The glow in his eyes dimmed for a moment, replaced by confusion. What did I just do? Liara ran to him, holding his shoulders. You protected me. But you lost more of yourself. He looked at her blankly. Who are you? The words hit her like a blade. Tears filled her eyes. It's me, Liara, she said softly. The one who saved you. Eli blinked, struggling to recognize her face. Liara. I think I knew that name once. Her voice trembled. You still do? Somewhere inside. He touched her cheek weakly. You're crying. Because I can't save you from what I've done, she whispered. For a long moment, they sat together in the ruined forest, one creature glowing gold, the other silver, surrounded by death and silence. The stars above flickered faintly, as if mourning them both. Then faintly, a distant sound broke the stillness, a low, humming tone. Liara's eyes widened. The elders, she said in fear. They've sent the high sentinels. They know you exist now. Eli looked up at the glowing sky. Good, he said quietly. Maybe they'll tell me who I am. Liara shook her head, tears falling freely now. They won't. They'll destroy you. You're proof that their law is broken. He rose to his feet slowly, his golden light flickering weakly in the night. Then I'll protect you until I can't. Liara grabbed his hand. And what will be left of you when this ends? He smiled faintly, his voice soft but sure. Maybe nothing human, but something still mine. The wind carried his words away as the first light of dawn touched the shattered trees. And as Liara looked at him, she realized that the man she had saved was slowly disappearing, not dying, but becoming something far beyond human. The dawn came slowly, painting the alien sky in shades of violet and gold. The forest was quiet, too quiet, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Eli and Liara stood on a cliff overlooking the valley below. The land was scarred by battle, black smoke rising where once green light had glowed. Liara's tail moved slowly behind her, its light dim and flickering. She looked weak, her hands trembling as she pressed them against her heart. The bond she shared with Eli was draining her life away. Eli watched the horizon in silence. His golden eyes reflected the sun, but there was no emotion left in them. His face was calm, almost peaceful, but behind that calm, a storm was dying. Liara finally spoke. You can't keep fighting them, she said softly. The more you use that power, the less of you remains. Eli's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. Then tell me how to stop. She hesitated, her throat tight. There is a way, she said, but it's not one you'll like. He turned toward her slowly. Tell me. Liara took a deep breath. I can undo what I did. I can break the bond. It will kill you, but your human soul will be free again. You'll die as yourself. Eli looked at her with unreadable eyes. And if you don't? Then I must complete the fusion, she said, tears forming in her silver eyes. You'll live, But you'll no longer be human. You'll become something else, a being of light. You won't remember me or your world. You'll be reborn. He stared out over the valley again, where distant lights were moving, ships of the Sarathi elders, descending through the clouds. Their engines roared softly like 1,000 storms approaching. So I either die as a man, he said quietly, or live as a stranger. Lyra nodded. Yes, the choice is yours. Silence filled the air between them. The wind carried the smell of rain, and far below, the first signs of the enemy shimmered through the mist. Eli could see their silver armor glowing faintly like ghosts. He finally asked, "What would you want me to choose?" Her answer came in a whisper. "I want you to live, but not if it means losing yourself completely. I didn't save you to create something hollow." He looked at her, his expression softening for the first time in days. "You know, when you found me on that battlefield, I thought you were an angel." She smiled faintly through her tears. "I'm no angel, Eli, just a fool who broke a sacred law." He stepped closer, reaching out to touch her cheek. His hand glowed faintly against her skin. "Then maybe I'm the punishment you were meant to face." Her eyes shimmered. "If you are, then I'll accept it." The sound of engines grew louder. The sky above them split with beams of light, ships descending, scanning the ground. The elders had found them. Liara turned toward the sound, panic in her eyes. "They're here." Eli looked calm. "Then there's no more time." He held out his hand to her. "If I choose to live, finish it." She shook her head, tears falling. "You'll forget me." "I already am," he said softly. "But right now, I still know your face. I still remember your voice. That's enough." Liara's heart broke as she nodded slowly. She stepped closer, wrapping her glowing tail gently around his chest. The light spread between them, warm and blinding. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "You were the last human I'll ever touch." He smiled faintly. "Then make it count." As her tail's light deepened, Eli's body began to shimmer, his edges blurring, his form changing. His voice echoed through the wind. "Maybe it's not about what I am, but who I choose to protect." Liara's tears turned to light, falling upward into the air. The energy around them roared like thunder. From the sky, the elders' ships locked onto their position. Liara cried out, "Eli!" But the golden light burst outward, engulfing everything. The cliff, the valley, even the storm itself vanished in brilliance. When the light faded, only silence remained. The ships hovered above a crater of glass, no life detected, yet far away in the clouds, a new streak of gold moved across the sky, free, radiant, and alive. Liara fell to her knees, her glow fading. She whispered through her tears, "He chose to live." And as the dawn broke over the ruined world, the first legend of the Lightborn was written. The storm had ended long ago. The skies were calm now, washed clean by gold and violet light. The battlefield, once filled with fire and ash, was quiet, so quiet that even the wind seemed afraid to speak. From the broken soil, faint rays of golden energy rose, curling like morning mist. For days, Liara wandered among the ruins. Her steps were slow, her strength fading with each passing hour. The glow in her tail had dimmed almost completely, her once bright eyes now dull and tired. She searched the horizon again and again, whispering his name. "Eli." No answer ever came. Only the echo of her voice carried across the empty plain. She stopped beside a pool of clear water, a rare sight on this wounded planet. Kneeling down, she stared at her reflection. The markings on her skin had changed. New golden lines ran along her neck, pulsing faintly. It was his energy, still alive inside her. The fusion they shared had not died. It had transformed. A soft wind brushed against her cheek. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down silently. "I finished the bond," she whispered. "You should be gone." But then she felt it, a faint warmth spreading through the ground beneath her. The light in the water rippled and a familiar hum filled the air. Her eyes snapped open. From the center of the pool, a glow began to rise. At first small, like a single spark, then growing brighter, larger, pulsing with rhythm, with life. The surface of the water exploded upward in a burst of golden fire, and out of that light he stepped, Eli, but not as the man she had saved on the battlefield. His form was different now, taller, radiant, his skin shimmering like living metal, eyes brighter than any sun. His voice when he spoke was calm and deep, echoing through the air like a soft thunder. Liara. She froze, tears flooding her eyes. It can't be. He walked toward her slowly, his bare feet leaving trails of light across the ground. The golden marks on her skin glowed brighter in response, his presence calling to the energy still inside her. You said I wouldn't be human again, he said gently. You were right. Her breath caught in her throat. Then what are you now? Eli looked up at the endless sky. I don't know, he said simply. But I feel everything. The ground, the wind, your heartbeat. The universe is loud, Liara. I can hear it breathing. She took a trembling step toward him. Do you remember me? He paused. His golden eyes softened. Not with my mind, he said. But something deeper does. When I saw you crying, I knew you were the reason I came back. Liara's tears fell freely now, glowing as they touched the soil. I thought I lost you forever. He smiled faintly. Maybe you did. The man you saved, Eli Ward, he's gone. But what you gave him became me. She reached out her hand. Then who stands before me now? He looked at her, eyes shimmering with quiet warmth. Someone who remembers what it meant to be human, and what it means to love. The wind shifted, carrying faint whispers from the sky. The ships of the elders circled high above, their sensors scanning for forbidden energy. Liara looked up in fear, but Eli shook his head. They can't hurt us now, he said. Their power is bound to the laws of old. I'm not part of those laws anymore. As he spoke, his body brightened, light radiating outward, wrapping around them both. The ground beneath them turned to crystal, the broken trees slowly blooming with golden flowers. Life returned to the wasteland. Liara stepped closer, pressing her forehead against his chest. What will you do now? She whispered. He looked toward the horizon where dawn spread like a promise. I'll wander, he said softly. Help where I can. Heal what's broken. Maybe that's what being alive means now. She looked up at him, smiling through her tears. And me? He touched her cheek gently, his light warm against her skin. You were the beginning, he said. You're the reason this world still has hope. Then his light began to fade, not into darkness, but into the sky itself. His form dissolved into thousands of golden motes, swirling upward, becoming part of the clouds, the stars, the very air. Liara watched, her heart breaking and healing at once. She whispered to the wind, Goodbye, my lightborn. The golden sky shimmered in response. A soft voice echoed faintly like a breeze brushing her ear. I never left. She smiled, eyes shining. And as centuries passed, travelers who crossed that land would speak of a place where the trees glowed with gentle gold, where the wind hummed softly with warmth, and where a single inscription on a crystal stone read, He was human once, and then he became light. Not for power, not for glory, but for love.